Today I'm going to be talking about my Les Paul Custom. I'm going to be discussing some of the negatives, the positives, the price tag, and if it's still worth it 12 months down the track. Let's go. Hey, hope you are well. So it's been a little over 12 months since I first got my Les Paul Custom. If you haven't watched my unboxing video, you can catch that one right here. Now, to be honest, that entire video is basically just me being very excited that I just got one of my dream guitars. So my judgment and my opinions were a little tainted by that excitement. But with that in mind, it is a beautiful guitar and I love it. So just to talk about it quickly, mahogany body, it's got a two-piece maple top, matched 490, 498 humbuckers, black speed knobs, it's got a nitrocellulose finish, and obviously the gold hardware, which looks amazing. So I did find this one online through a store in Queensland. I'm in New South Wales in Australia. I spoke to them and they said they had this one on order, so it was coming in, and I still had to wait 12 months. So I don't know what is sort of the standard of what you would expect if you just went straight to the custom shop, but that's how this one works. So this one came stock. This is, I think, the 2020 model. So everything on here is just the stock Alpine white Les Paul Custom. At that time, it did go for, I think it was 7,800 Australian dollars. I did just see today that it has bumped up by about 500 or so if you were to get the same guitar. So I feel like I've got a bit of a bargain in that regard. Most of my life, I've been using ESP guitars with EMGs, and so using these passive pickups was a bit of a change for me. When I first got my Mojave Burst Gibson, it just didn't occur to me that it was going to be passive pickups and it would be different. I know that sounds really stupid, but you know, you live and learn. So that came in and I love that guitar. It's amazing. The neck is actually really thin and streamlined and reminds me a lot of my ESPs, but the pickups play so much differently. So your EMGs are very sort of high output and they just attack and they growl and they're good all the time. Whereas the passive pickups, I feel like you have to sort of do a bit more and there's a lot more dynamics. So it was weird to adjust initially. However, the more I've played them, I love it. It feels a lot more like you can give it a bit more expression and character because of that added dynamic range in the pickups. This is how I feel with it, and this custom is very much the same as that one, and that's kind of what I like about it. It's sort of a selling point. And now, a couple of things that I was not expecting and is a little bit of a letdown, but I can live with it. So, when you get a guitar like this, you have to kind of make a decision. Do you want it to look awesome forever, or do you want to play it? Unfortunately, you can't do both. If you're going to play it, there's going to be natural wear and tear, and it's not going to be pristine. Doesn't matter who you are, that's just the facts of life. So first of all, obviously, it is gold hardware. Now, this is not solid gold hardware, it's gold-plated hardware. So as it turns out, I'm a bit of a heavy-handed player, and I think I might have sort of very corrosive sweat. But just across here, you can see that it's wearing away on the pickup here, and down here on the bridge, the gold is starting to wear away. Even up here on my toggle switch, you can see the rhythm and treble are starting to fade, which is really strange, I think. I don't know what I do to make that rub off, but that's going as well. Obviously the scratch plate gets hit and it's going to scratch up. Now the gold hardware at the top, that hasn't really been corroded in any way. One thing I would have really liked on here is if these were locking tuners. I mean, I could probably change it, it's not that big a deal, but it doesn't come stock with them. So this is what you get. I think it's because it's supposed to sort of replicate that sort of vintage look. So they didn't have them then, and this one doesn't have it now. Maybe one day I'll put them on. Also, when I got this, it didn't come with strap locks. which is surprising. It's an expensive guitar. Again, I assume vintage. So I bought some gold-plated strap locks and I've just inserted them and changed them from the stock that came. The neck is a vintage style, thicker kind of neck. I'll show you against my Mojave Burst, which I'll insert here. As you can see, there's quite a difference there. And when you put your hand on there, you can definitely feel the difference. But end of the day, it doesn't really affect much the way I play. Same with the scratch plate. I don't have any other guitars that have a scratch plate. I definitely notice it, but it doesn't really affect me too much. Surprise for me was the Nitrocellulose lacquer finish. I didn't know anything about it. I had a white ESP LTD for a long time and I stupidly sold it. I regret it. If you watch this and you have my guitar, hit me up and tell me that you want to give it back to me, please. But anyway, it had sort of like that glossy finish, and as most people should know, I didn't. The gloss finish just lasts forever. It's going to look white, it's going to look amazing, and that's what I kind of thought this was going to do. But the Nitrocellulose lacquer is designed to wear and tear with age, and obviously it's going to sort of discolor, and I'm going to have a yellow guitar one day. If I wanted a yellow guitar, I would have bought a yellow guitar, but I wanted a white guitar. It's fine. It's fine. So as it turns out, the Nitrocellulose lacquer is very temperamental, and even the stands that you have, if it's not the right type of foam on that, it's going to leave a mark on your guitar. And again, I'll show you a nice close-up here. I've got a little bit of a yellow patch, which came from literally, I think it was a day. I left it on the stand and it sat against that and left a yellow mark. And same up here, a yellow mark just here from just touching that stuff. So if you have a guitar with Nitrocellulose finish, make sure you do your research and find the stuff that is designed to work on this kind of finish. Otherwise, you're going to wreck some parts of your guitar. Saying at the beginning, when I first got it out of its case, I was so excited. I didn't want to find any faults with it. But I got to be honest, the action that came stock from the custom shop is too high for me. It felt a lot harder to play than any other of my guitars. So I had to adjust that, and it is awesome. And in saying that, in the last couple of months, I've changed my strings to 9 to 42. I used to have 10 to 46s, and the light gauge is just killer. I love it. But I straightened the neck right out, it didn't need much adjustment. It was actually pretty good. I got the strings so low to a point where it was too low, but there was no buzz anywhere. So even though the action that came stock was too high for me personally, the way it's built, the custom shop is just amazing. I cannot express enough just how well this thing plays. If you've seen any of my videos, you will know that I use my custom guitar all the time. I've actually used this on a lot of my recordings. I recorded my solo on the World Stop Turner with this guitar. Sounds amazing. If you're new to the channel, the subscribe button is just down there. I recommend you press that one. Now, because this was such a big deal guitar for me, I was very careful when I first got it. I didn't want to bump it on anything, which was inevitable. You're going to bump it eventually. And even playing, eventually these frets are going to wear down from your playing. It's just going to happen. So that's where I had to really sort of make the decision. Do I want this to be a showpiece guitar where I have people come in and go, wow, that looks nice on your wall? Or do I want to enjoy it and do I want to play it? So end of the day, I just had to suck it up and think, I want to play it. It's what I got it for. So I play it. And any of the little bumps and bruises that come along, they still kill me every time, but it gives it character. It makes it my guitar. There's a little bit just on the back here, obviously where I sit. You can see just there. It's got those little bits wearing away, but I did that, so it's all good. The fact that this guitar is going to age with me is kind of nice. It makes it mine. And I know Gibson have their Murphy Lab. They've got brand new guitars that are made to look like old school, really aged guitars, which is, I guess they're cool, but they cost more. Do you want that, or do you want to age it yourself? Don't know. It's open to opinion, that one. If I ever get to a point in my life where I've got enough money just to waste on just sticking something on the wall, I would definitely buy another one of these and just hang it up there. If I was to buy another one that I'm just gonna play, I think I would probably get the finish to be different, to be sort of a lacquer that's gonna last. It's not gonna wear and tear. Because end of the day, this is the look that I wanted. This one's gonna age with me and it's always gonna have a place in my heart, but I also would love to have one that I can play that's gonna look pristine all the time. It definitely plays like you would expect a custom shop guitar to play. It's probably one of the best guitars I've ever felt in my hands and played. It sounds amazing. So the build of the custom shop, playability wise, is incredible. The binding and all that sort of thing, I guess you're going to find sort of flaws and faults in everything, and this one definitely has a couple of little spots where it's not, 100% perfect, but I guess that sort of also just adds to the whole handmade thing. So 12 months later, look, it's 100% worth it. If you are considering getting yourself a custom shop guitar, just keep these things in mind, that when you get it, it's not going to be perfect forever. But end of the day, you will have a custom shop guitar, and that's the whole point. To wrap it up in a few words, I love this guitar. It's as simple as that. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned. See you next time.